finally, after much preparation, we're ready to start casting. What I'm going to do for the seat parts, because of the detail and everything else that I want to show, this this mold here looks like it is a big plank of wood. It's got a lot of detail, knots and grain and everything else like that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the surface in a countertop mix, and then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pour it into the mold and spread it out and work it up the edges. And then because that's expensive material to work with, once I've got that done, I'm going to mix up a bag of regular ready mix, and we're going to fill the center with the lower cost ready mix, and that'll just save a couple of dollars, and it's every bit as strong and you know. So anyways, oh, as well, don't forget to rebar your seats if they're doing any kind of span. I have a 4-foot span on my bench, so I'm going to be using a few pieces of rebar just to give the bench some extra strength. Now when you're putting your rebar in, everybody thinks that it goes into the middle. It doesn't actually go into the middle. Concrete is very high in compressive strength and very low in tensile strength. So you have to think where the pressure is going to be when deciding to put your rebar. And if you've got two supports on either side and a lot of pressure in the middle, well, the pressure to separate, it's going to be compressing on the top and trying to pull apart on the bottom of the piece. So that's where you need to actually be putting your rebar, is near where the bottom of the seat would be. So on the underside of the halfway point. So that way you get the tensile strength of the rod helping the concrete. So anyways, let's get started here with our mix. I'm just going to mix the countertop mix by hand, and then we'll start spreading that out, and after that we'll get the concrete mixture going and do up a few bags for the inside. Okay, now our concrete is mixed into a porridge-like consistency. It's got a bit of stiffness to it. It's not. It's pretty thick. You can see how it gloops on nicely there. Okay. Basically what we're going to do here now, we're just going to bounce it like that. Let it settle out on its own, and that gets the air bubbles out of it, because we don't want to have a bunch of trapped air bubbles. And now what we're going to do, we're going to continue to add, but we're going to add in the center, and we're going to take the trowel here. We're going to work it out in a slow pattern, pushing it out as we go. Okay, what that'll do, that'll just fill in everything as we go, and it won't allow air to get trapped. You know, you still might get a bubble or two, but it's by and large, this is the most effective method I've found so far for doing this. Outside of a shaker table, which is on order but hasn't got here yet, is the most effective way to do this. Hi, well, I'm back. Unfortunately, I ran out of video memory while recording this, so I had to quickly take a break and go empty the camera, so I didn't get to show you the part doing up the edges here. But anyways, I've got my main fill for my concrete is all ready here, and we're just loading up the inside of the mold here now with the less expensive product here. So anyways, we just kind of fill that out, and then lock everything down into place. Now we're just over the 2/3 mark here, and now what we're going to do is we're going to insert our rebars at this point, and then we're just going to cover things up afterward. So I put 5 lengths of rebar spanning most of the way. And then now that's all done, we can just fill that up. Mosquitoes are absolutely insane back here today. We've had a very long cold spring, lots and lots and lots and lots of rain. So mosquitoes have had extra time to gain their numbers this year. So, now the mix I've got in here, I'm just using up some bagged concrete, and the mix I've got here, I've added some fiberglass fibers to it, and I've added a little extra Portland because I like my mix to be a little rich. I've also added a little bit of lime, which retards the set a bit, and then I've also added some latex acrylic bonding admixture, and that gives a little bit of flexibility and extra strength to the concrete. So all kinds of extra goodies added to this stuff, and so it's not just quite out of the bag. The mix that comes in the bags, now I got it really cheap. I got it for like less than $4 a bag, so it's hard for me to get materials to even make my bulk concrete that cheap. But I was able to get the stuff real cheap, so I'm just using it up now. But I didn't quite like the way it works. Now I find it's just when it comes straight out of the bag, the ready mix isn't quite strong enough for the demolding process. I find I break a lot of corners and stuff, so what I do, I strengthen it up a bit with acrylic bonding agent and a little extra Portland, and make the mix just a little bit richer. So work it into the corners there, and just a touch more there. I got to do another bench top here. This one here with the insert was actually the bench back, but I need to have a bench bottom for people to sit on. So I'm gonna do another one here right away, and I'll cut into the spot where I'm doing the edge on that one, so you can see what I'm up to there. But just nice and smooth, work it up to the edges. Between the rebar and the extra glass fibers, I shouldn't have any issues at all with these ever cracking or breaking. So they should be able to see the whole family and work it back and forth till she's nice and smooth. Now we're on to the next part here. I've got extra mix here, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to start filling the legs now. And I'm going to come back to this here. I'm just going to let that set up for a little bit, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to do another bench here right away. Okay, so one problem that I continuously face in the casting area is, where do I get more space? Because this place tends to fill up real fast, being such a small little space. So what we do, we're just going to build ourselves a little table here, and we're going right over the first casting, just like so. And voila, we're ready to start our next casting. Now, I'll catch up with you here again when we get to the stage here where I do the edges here. Okay, now that we've got the bottom of the mold filled, just take the trowel and just pull just a little bit off the surface here and build it up to the edge. And by building it up to the edge, just like that, now we've got a nice strong continuous surface on the edge, and we can come along with the inexpensive concrete and fill that. So that's basically how you put a hybrid concrete bench together. And interesting thing, like you don't necessarily have to be using countertop mix. Like you can use white concrete and save expenses on your white concrete by doing the underside in regular Portland gray, and or a special colored concrete, whatever you want, and some special mix or whatever, and just do it hybrid in this fashion. So we'll let that set up a bit, and now I've got to mix up a little more and fill the corners here. So I like to actually do the corner pegs in the countertop mix as well. Just because of the strength factor. But this will get those edges looking really nice. And there we go. Now we're ready to mix up another batch of concrete here and finish this up. Anyways, just fill the corners and use the excess to build up a little more on the edge. This stage, you need to be careful though that you don't hit the side of the mold, because you don't want to break your initial set. This mix would have already started its initial set on the edge of the mold here, and if you break that, you're going to be significantly weaker. But I like to use the countertop mix in the corners. The countertop mix, besides having the high strength polymer additives in it, it's got the fibers and everything else like that, and it's really quite strong, so it's really quite a nice thing to use to finish up those corners. So any extra you've got, you can just put down the edges of the sides and build those up. I did try an experiment here with a cake mold that didn't quite go the way I planned, but it was fun. But oh well, these things happen. So give that a little extra. And then we'll just be filling the interior of this again with the lower cost regular concrete. The countertop concrete, because it's got all the special additives and whatnot, tends to be a bit expensive. But I find, because it's got the finer aggregate and all the additives that make it nice and strong, it's the best thing for doing the high detailed surface of the bench mold. Set up a bit while we find another mold to put the rest of this concrete in, and then we'll mix up our batch for the middle. Okay, now the very last thing you want to do is just cover it so the direct sun can't get on it and bake it. If it dries too fast, it's going to crack on you no matter what kind of additives or stuff you've got in it. So just cover it up and then put a tarp over it, or a piece of a plastic sheeting or something like that, just to maintain the humidity. And then don't touch it for about 48 hours. Okay. Okay, now with our bench seats and backs out of the way, we can turn our attention to the legs. I've already cast one here earlier on, and I'm just going to get the second one going here. Earlier, I put the bolts in and I tied up this one main piece of rebar inside. So we're just going to start filling the mold until we get about to the halfway point. And once we vibrate that down, then we will put the rest of our rebar pieces in. Now, there are all kinds of ways that you can vibrate this. One of the easiest that everybody has around is a hammer. Just using a rubber mallet, just pound her and she all vibrates down in there. Yeah. Once things are sufficiently vibrated, you can take your other pieces of rebar, set them in place where they need to go, and carry on filling up the mold. There we go. Now, whenever you're doing something like this, it's a bigger casting. Unless you've pre-measured it out exactly, or if you're not, or if you don't want to even modify your batch or whatever, it's always handy just to have one or two small molds prepped and ready to go, just to take the excess. Today I've got a couple of pedestal molds. They're just simple round columns. That's all they are, nothing fancy. But it just turns the concrete into something useful instead of wasting a little bit each time you get the mixer out. So the price of this stuff, that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So fill your mold up. Just take your hammer, vibrate it down again. The settling will give you a good clue where you need to have more concrete, less concrete, whatever. Have a trowel handy. And I'm going to go grab my trowel. Or even just a hand spade will do. Need a little bit there. Fill that up. Scrape that down. And voila. Let that set for a bit, and we'll cover that up shortly, and we're done for today. Okay, you have a good day.